26-year-old Morgan Evenson was attacked December 13 while walking home from her job at the Apple Store just 2 weeks before Christmas in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Stabbed some 14 times by a Somali refugee and left with a lacerated kidney, Everson bears the scars on her face, arm, neck, and back that will forever remind her of this brutal attack levied against her. Yet Everson's story has been largely ignored by the city's largest newspaper, the Star Tribune, and many local news stations. Minneapolis police are making little effort to bring this vile and crazed maniac to justice, all due to his status as a Muslim Somali refugee. Does Minneapolis believe that refugees have more rights than American citizens regardless of their crimes? Everson believes that may be the case. Everson describes her attack as random. She did not know the man and has no idea why he attacked her. She describes walking the 8 blocks home from work in uptown Minneapolis and being dragged off of a public street as the man stabbed and slashed at her relentlessly. She states the Somali man tackled her from behind. "This guy was following me maybe 10 to 15 feet behind me, so I kept checking his distance to me, and he started getting closer, so I sped up. I was pretty nervous, and I was shaking a little bit, and all of a sudden I check again, and he's running at me. It was horrifying, because I could feel something that felt like it was stinging me. But it was him stabbing me. Doctors told me I had 14 wounds that needed stitches, including a lacerated kidney. I cannot imagine anyone attacking someone like that, and as a woman, it is especially frightening, but I knew I had to fight back." Patrick Stellick, Evenson's fiancé, described how Everson survived a harrowing and vicious attack, and the neighbors that helped rescue her, she fought him. And that's when he started stabbing her repeatedly, and then neighbors who heard her screaming for help came to assist, and that is when the suspect ran away. She suffered a lacerated kidney and multiple stab wounds on her arms and upper body, but doctors said her strong health and a winter parka probably saved her life. Stellick said Evenson suffered serious injuries, but is now resting at home and expected to make a full recovery. They described their neighborhood as a nice area and a relatively safe one, with Everson working in a high-end shopping district that includes a Victoria's Secret, high-end jewelry stores, and coffee shops, in addition to the Apple Store where Everson was employed. Everson is extremely grateful to neighbors and passers-by who heard her screaming and came to her aid, which ultimately led to her attacker running away, stating, "It is very touching to see and hear from so many people who care. I am forever grateful to the people who came to my aid, and without them, I might not have survived." Then there is the fact that a violent and vicious Somali refugee with an apparent hatred for white women still on the loose, and police have made no arrests in the crime against Everson. A situation that has many women watching their backs, afraid to walk alone on the public streets of this popular shopping district that they previously thought was safe. Then there is the official police narrative that seems to indicate a cover-up, perhaps due to the attacker's refugee status, likely Muslim heritage, or ethnicity. Minneapolis police have labeled the December 13 attack against Everson as an attempted robbery. Crime prevention specialist Jennifer Neal told the Southwest Journal on December 20, "We're still scratching our heads about it, because it's just so brazen," noting the level of violence used to get a purse. Except Everson says the man made no attempt whatsoever to grab her purse, and nothing whatsoever was taken from her. She fought back with all she had as he continuously thrust his knife into her torso, wrists, arms, and shoulders, resisting long enough for a neighbor to hear her screams and come running to her aid, sending the Somali attacker fleeing. As she fought for her life, Everson got a very clear look at her attacker, whom she described as a black man in his early 20s. Thin build, low-cut afro, and a slight Somali accent. Everson states, "I would say it was 2 to 3 minutes of struggling with him as he was dragging me through the snow. This person who did this to me is still out there. I don't know if he intends to do this to someone else, or if this was a one-time thing. Was it because I was a woman? Was it the color of my skin? Was it the purse on my shoulder? Even though you didn't take anything from me, I don't want this to change who I am, because I don't want to be a scared person, but it would be so amazing to have this person turned in and to look at him in the face, and to hopefully convict him of something." Yet despite Everson's clear and distinct description of the man, the Minneapolis police have not released a composite sketch of the suspect. Neither is the Minneapolis Police Department a stranger to controversy. when it comes to cases that involve Somali refugees. The city boasts the nation's largest Somali population of more than 50,000, many of which have been hand-selected for resettlement in America by the United Nations. In August of 2017, the Minneapolis Police Department 5th Precinct's first Somali police officer, Mohammed Noor, shot and killed an armed white woman, Australian national Justine Damond. Since her murder, he has refused to answer any and all questions posed to him by Internal Affairs, and the department has yet to file any charges against him. In the summer of 2016, a violent band of more than a dozen Somali men went on a 3-day terror binge in the city's Linden Hills community, threatening to rape a woman, beating a resident's dog, and shouting jihad as they drove vehicles over residents' lawns, and pretended to shoot people through their duffel bags. Yet again, no arrests were made. And then there was the mysterious 2014 apartment explosion in a Somali neighborhood of Minneapolis in which 3 people lost their lives. No arrests were ever made in that case either, nor any explanation for the cause of the explosion. It seems for the police in Minneapolis, political correctness is all and protecting the refugee population is paramount, and at the expense of the tax-paying American citizens who pay their salaries. It also appears that the news media is too busy creating fake news stories and bashing President Trump with ridiculous commentary about third world countries to worry about legitimate criminals.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you